Hey everybody, welcome to the Happy Harvest Homestead. Right now I am in the car with my dad and we're driving down to Arkansas to pick up some rabbits. This story is kind of crazy. So what happened was a few days ago I was just sitting at the kitchen table and my dad walks in and says, "Hey, I got this message from a friend of mine asking if we want a whole bunch of free rabbits." And I was like, "I guess, sure. Like, I don't need more breeders. We already have plenty." And we actually kind of have like our spaces kind of maxed out, but in all honesty, we could probably squeeze a few more in because like who doesn't want free rabbits, right? And so now it's a few days later, and I've packed up the car with some carriers and boxes. I'm not sure how many we're gonna get. They said they have like 4 to 8 available. I believe they're all like free ranging in a barn or something, so it's like hard to catch them. So we'll just go there and see what happens. We could be spending half an hour chasing crazy rabbits around. We could go there and they've already caught them and they're all in a box waiting for us. I don't know what we're gonna go find, but I thought I would bring the camera along and film this very providential series of events. Okay, we are now on our way home. We have 4 little bunnies with us. They're like 8 weeks old and they were just weaned. The people said these were the only ones they could catch. It sounds like they're pretty wild. These guys were born in a burrow and then came out of the burrow at like 3 or 4 weeks old and were free ranging around their barn. We didn't go in to see their setup because they just had them on their porch waiting for us. But it sounds like they have like a barn and then they can like free range out of the barn. They kind of want to build up like a wild domestic rabbit population, so in an emergency situation they can hunt them at their leisure. But they are fairly new to homesteading and they are a bit squeamish about butchering rabbits. So for some reason they decided they didn't want to keep these kits to raise up and eat or to raise up and be breeders. They wanted to give them to us for free. And while it is kind of an odd choice, I'm not complaining. In fact, they told us if we ever have another batch of babies, we'll call you up and give you more. I'm not sure if you can tell by the lighting, but we spent I think like an hour or two there. Picking up the rabbits was super easy, but we ended up staying at their house and just talking. They are very like-minded to us though, and we share a lot of interests, so it actually ended up being pretty interesting. But now we're driving home with 4 red-eye white New Zealand kits who are 8 weeks old. I'm not sure of their genders yet. I'm going to check that later once they get settled, but I'm excited to be finally getting them home. And then they said this one has a bit of head tilt. They didn't call it that. They're real beginners, so I'm not sure what's happening, but... Okay, they're now in the hutch. I still have to get them food and water and a little shelter area, but I'm just going to do that later. If you remember, I think it was 2 videos ago, when I was breeding all of my meat rabbits, I mentioned that we needed to get this hutch empty for a surprise, and if you were paying close enough attention, yes, this is the surprise I was talking about. 2 of our breeder does, Acrobat and Zuzu, used to be in this hutch, but I fixed up one of our broken tractors for them, so this hutch is now empty and free to be a quarantine cage for these 4 until 30 days from now when they'll be officially out of quarantine if they still are healthy, and then I can do whatever I want with them. With that being either raise them up to eat, or raise them up as breeders, or some of both. Currently, I have no plans for these rabbits, since this has all been sprung on me pretty suddenly. But this whole situation seems very providential, so I'm confident that God will work it all out to my good. Because they're all the same color, it's really hard to tell them apart, but I believe we have 2 girls, and then 1 boy, and then I'm not sure about the 4th one. By that point, I couldn't tell which one was which. There are 2 like bigger ones and then 2 smaller ones. One of the bigger ones is a boy and one of the smaller ones is a girl. Then one of the smaller girls has a mild case of head tilt. I looked in her ears and didn't see any ear mites, and they all look pretty healthy otherwise. Cattail also, when we got her, had a weird case of head tilt, but she doesn't have any ear mites, and it's kind of corrected itself over time. And Cattail has been able to live a healthy, normal life, so this is also my hope with this little girl. I'm pretty sure she'll be just fine. Thank you for coming along with me as I got our surprise bunnies. Once they're all out of quarantine, I am very excited to see how they're going to grow, how big they're going to get, if they're going to be hardy during the wintertime. You could be looking at some future breeding bucks and breeding does, or you could be looking at dinner. Either way, these little guys are going to live a great life on our homestead, no matter how long or short it is. Thanks for watching.